Scottish politician Sir James Mackintosh once said, "The powers of a man's mind are directly proportional to the quantity of coffee he drank." I'm pretty sure we can all acknowledge the powers of caffeine in the world, and I can guarantee that everyone in this room has been to a coffee shop at least once. As a very passionate coffee drinker myself, I dove wholeheartedly into researching the origins of coffee, and today I'm excited to talk to you guys about 3 countries that were instrumental in the history of coffee as we know it. So first I'm going to talk to you guys about Ethiopia, which is where the coffee plant actually originated. Second, I'm going to talk to you guys about Italy, because as you probably have all guessed, Italy is where we get a lot of our coffee slang. And finally, I'm going to talk to you guys about England, which is where the modern coffee shop really exploded. So first of all, let's take a look at Ethiopia. How on earth did humans start drinking this weird plant? So, according to Demel Tekete's 1999 research paper titled History, Botany, and Ecological Requirements of Coffee, ancient Ethiopian legend has it that one day a goat herder was watching over his flock and he noticed that some of his goats were just going nuts after having munched on the berries of the coffee plant. So he took notice of that, obviously, and said, "I want in on that." And so he went and he ate some of the berries himself and noticed the same benefits of increased energy and alertness. Ancient Ethiopian priests then took those berries and developed the method of drying the fruit, roasting the seed, grinding, and brewing it that we use today. In fact, coffee then became such a major part of Ethiopian culture that the Oromo people, Ethiopia's largest ethnic group, feature coffee in virtually all of their religious ceremonies. So next, let's look at Italy and coffee slang, because obviously we don't use the same words for coffee that the ancient Ethiopians did. So in their book titled Coffee, published in 2013, Jonathan Morris and his colleagues tell us that Italy, as a major international port of trade, was hugely responsible for importing and exporting coffee to basically all of the Western world. And in fact, for a time, they actually had colonies in Ethiopia that would grow, harvest, and then export the coffee beans back to Italy. So coffee is a huge part of Italian culture. In fact, there are regional differences according to which drinks people prefer. For example, extra strong espresso called ristretto in the north, and milky, frothy cappuccinos in the south. Today, being a barista in Italy is a majorly respected profession. In fact, a fun fact is the average age of a barista in Italy is 40, compared to, 20 here in the US or something? So, if you've ever walked into a coffee shop and asked a barista for a grande macchiato, you just spoke a pretty good stream of Italian, probably without even realizing it. So finally, speaking of baristas, let's talk about England, which is where the coffee shop really exploded. So again, according to their book published in 2013 titled Coffee, Jonathan Morris and his colleagues tell us that coffee shops actually originated in the 16th century Ottoman Empire. As they moved west, however, abolitionists in England, and abolitionists are people who wanted to abolish alcohol in England, decided that coffee shops were actually a great idea because that would replace bars. And you can imagine how popular that idea was, considering how huge alcohol and beer is in the British culture. Nevertheless, coffee shops gained popularity over the next few centuries, but they didn't really experience an explosion until the 50s, which is when the average British university student realized that coffee shops were ideal locations for socializing, for studying, and for sipping espresso. So, in conclusion, today I talked to you guys about Ethiopia, Italy, and England, as well as their contributions to the history of coffee as we know it. Even if you guys aren't really coffee drinkers, maybe you're more of tea drinkers, I hope that we all learned something today and that we have a new appreciation for the culture and history of coffee. I'll leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes by author Charisse Sinclair that I feel kind of accurately summarizes this whole speech. No matter what historians tell you, BC really stands for before coffee.